Welcome to Trades of the Week with myself and Keith Sullivan. Today, we are going to discuss why have Luna gone almost to zero? Why has it crashed from $120 down to 0.00000 something? That's what we're going to discuss today. We're also going to discuss, have the markets, have the stock market, have the crypto market finally found a bottom? That's the second part that we will be discussing today. So, let's jump into it. I think we really have some exciting things to share with you. But before that as well, there is one thing I want to mention. And that is tomorrow, the 18th of May at 1 p.m., we have a live career webinar. So we are looking for enthusiastic sales professionals currently that want to join us in our mission to really help as many clients possible to really reach financial freedom for themselves and their families. So if you want to serve people, if you want to help, if you want to make a difference for people in their lives, make sure you sign up for our live career webinar. That is tomorrow, 18th of what is it today? Is it May? At 1 p.m. And then you will get that chance. So make sure you sign up. The link will be somewhere below. So let's jump into it. So let's jump into our Buffaloes first. So before we go into a stock market update, we have taken 2% profit now. We were up 3%, but you just never know. So we lowered the stop loss on TMCI. We've taken 2% profit because the price went up and we went up to the level that we lowered our stop loss to. So that's worth a moo. Keith, are you ready?
Yep.
Moo. Well, I was a bit too quick there, maybe. All right, so that was good, right? 2% profit, and Airbnb looking really good. So we are continuing to lower the stop loss here. We lowered it to a 3% profit currently, even though we are up a little bit more than 4%, 4.5%. So it might be worth maybe lowering it to 3.5%. But this is really, really good, I believe, and that means we're gonna have 3% profit in the future. And PFE, we're up a little bit in profit here, nothing to do there. This is Pfizer. And then with SNCY, we've lowered the stop loss as well to 1.5% profits. That's also going to be profits coming in the future. And then in regards to PRA, that is no trade, the market gap down. This is a great learning here. This is why we should be a little bit careful entering around earnings, because earnings can have this effect and really gap in one or the other direction. And also the learning to always use a stop order, an order that you have, and you want the price to move up a little bit before it takes you in, so you see that it moves in your direction. So we're canceling this trade. So if you haven't, make sure you do that. And then the last one is Cost. That is Costco Wholesale Corporation. Great company, really. And it could be that it will go up now. So I'm looking at it still. But it's from where we put the order in. There was really no trade. It has just gapped down and it went way below where we had the stop loss as well. So we're not really going to get the reward risk ratio on this scenario, I believe. So, and it's also broken down below the support. So we're canceling this one at the moment as well. And before we get into the new ones, Keith, what is happening in the stock market? Have we seen a bottom yet, or what is happening?
Yeah, so in regards to the stock market, the biggest question that is coming out is, have we reached a bottom in regards to the bearish move? Now, when we are looking at the stock market, $1 trillion in market cap actually got wiped out since the end of March. So since the end of March to now, $1 trillion of market cap got wiped out of the market. And 30% of companies that make up the S&P 500, if you don't know what that is, it's the 500 largest companies in the US. They have reached a 1-year bottom, okay, or 1-year low. So we're seeing a real bearish move in the stock market. Now, do we think that this has reached its bottom? Analysts don't believe so. They still believe that we could be seeing the market fall a lot further. And there's a couple of little reasons why this could be happening. Number one, we are still seeing, even though inflation seems to be cooling off, the Federal Reserve is still very bullish in regards to increasing interest rates. So even though we are not seeing inflation jump as high as it was over the last few weeks and months, we are still seeing that it is a problem in the US. And how have we seen that? The consumer price sentiment Okay, so looking at how people spend their money, it's actually been the lowest since 10 years. Okay, so the lowest it's been for 10 years. And that is because there's a lot of uncertainty within the US. And with people holding their money, naturally that shrinks the economy and it has the negative effect on the stock market. So that's currently what we are looking at now. As I say, we are still in extreme fear because there's other factors, the war in Ukraine, we're still seeing the COVID pandemic, localized lockdowns in China, which is limiting supply, as we spoke about last week, but we are still extreme fear. So if we look at the US 30 for me there, Dennis, we can see that the US 30, it did fall, okay, and potentially this could be the bottom now. So we are looking on a weekly chart, and as you can see, the US 30 did try to push even lower, around 31,000, I believe. Yep, so it's around 31.2. So what 31,200, it tried to break even lower and didn't. Buyers started to come in and push that market up. Now, can we confirm that we have bottomed out in the market? No. Remember, it has to be more than one thing to happen for us to know this is now the bottom. And the thing that we're looking for is this week's candle, we want to see it close above last week's candle, because that gives us a bit of confirmation that potentially we may now have bottomed out in the markets. Now, if we haven't bottomed out and we still see that the US 30 continues to fall to around 30,000 level, what does that mean for the overall market? It just means we're going to see more exacerbated fall. So your US 30 is kind of the driving force of the market. Your US 100 and 500 follow suit, but they are more volatile. So if you see a drop in the US 30, we see a bigger drop in the US 100 and 500. So we are still in the same position. We can't confirm we have bottomed out yet because we don't have that crystal ball. So we're just waiting for extra bits of confirmation before we can confirm, yes, now we have seen the bottom. So we're in the same phase. We need to focus on our VCAs, make sure we're still entering as that market falls. And we also need to look more at shorting positions in regards to Buffalo. And the last bit that we would look at is our gold and silver. As we know, gold and silver commodities are naturally the safe haven. And institutions tend to go into this direction if there's high amount of fear and uncertainty in the market. So with gold and silver, we're still seeing that fall, okay? Whereas the dollar price index, so the strength of the dollar, we are actually seeing that increase. So that is giving us the interpretation that the institutions are really holding their money as dollars. And that, again, could show a further drop in the market. So if you are in regards to VCA, so you are investing, you need to be diversified. So make sure you have one commodity at least, one gold company, one silver company, or maybe an ETF, which is a group of gold or silver companies, just to be protected, okay? Because if we do continue seeing a drop in the market, we should hopefully see an increase in commodities, okay? So it's kind of the hedge against the market. Overall, same position as last week. Dennis, anything else you would like to add?
No, I think that's perfect. I think shorter term, like you said, we're a bit indecisive. We need to see either the US 30 once again, a break above the last week's high, which will be roughly around 32,730, and a close above that as well, for us to even think that it will go higher. If we fail to break that, then we think the next target will be the 30,700, and then maybe 29,700 for this correction to play out. So that we are already down roughly 12% down, and it could take us down to a 20% drop in the market, maybe even further, who knows? But that's why we have strategies. And for this week as well, we're adding a couple. So the market has in the shorter term really gone down. So we're adding 2 upward trending and 2 downward trending. So we think we might get that push up now, even though we might continue lower in the medium term. So the shorter term, it could actually go up, and we could see a bit of a reversal now. A bear market rally, if you like, or maybe a continuation of the bull market, but we will see. So what you can see here is that it is on the support. We entered on yesterday's candle, calculated that. So it's roughly around the entry price now. We have a 3-to-1 reward risk ratio, which is great. So as Berry Corporation, BRY. The next one is TSN, Tyson Food. And before we actually went in on this move here, it stopped out at a 2% profit, and now it's actually down again. So now it's rinse and repeat. The same goes for this. Yesterday we had a good candle. We put the entry on, and it's at the entry price at the moment. We have a 3.89 in a reward risk ratio, which means for every $1 you're risking, you could potentially make 3.89. So those are the three or the two upward trending, and the last one, which is a downward trending, it's HVT, Harvard Future Companies. Oh, sorry, not future, Harvard Furniture Companies. And we have a good 1, 2, 3 bounces to the downside. It's currently on the line, so it's at the line at the moment. We want to see a break below this before we want to get in, but we have a 3-to-1 reward risk ratio, and this could just break lower, which is the trend at the moment, and they just had earnings as well, so we're safe with that as well. So that is pretty much it with stocks, right? With the bear market could be over, but it's too early to say, or not the bear market, but the correction. And longer term, we're of course still bullish, but we might see a little bit more weakness. But the market is very fearful at the moment, and this is the time to use strategies to buy into these really big and strong companies. So going over to cryptos then. So cryptos is a whole nother ball game, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Dennis, we're in a bear market, right? Or we're in a bear market at the moment." And the answer is we might be in the shorter term. Speaking of, big drops, it was down almost 62 or 63%, which is a quite substantial drop, and many of you might be scared. But looking at the chart, we never closed below the 29,300 or 30,000 mark. So currently the market is not really bearish in that sense. The market and the structure has not been broken. Really, we're in a sideways moving phase, a really big such. So that's why it's so important that on the way up, you take profits on the way up, and then on the way down, you keep buying. That's really, really, really important. So now what we're waiting for are two things. Number one, that we can get either close above this in the shorter term, or that we do close below this region here at 30,000, and that would potentially make us have a little bit of a stronger move to the downside, maybe targeting the 20,000 mark, which was the old all-time high as well. So look at your best projects, and we are going to get into some projects today as well. And there is obviously a few things we do need to mention, which is Luna is one of them. But looking at Bitcoin, down 60%, so we entered another time with Bitcoin, which was awesome. So now the next entry for us there is at a 70% drop. But as you can see, we actually invested when it went down 40, 50, and then we took profits at as it went up afterwards as well, which was great. So we took some profits at 50 and 100% now in the last move up. But now I can remove these here so it doesn't get too confusing. And then we now been investing on the way down, which is great. And there's a few things, and another one is GRT. This is the graph, which is a great project as well. So from this here, and because this is the one we were using when we invested the first time, so we need to continue using this. If you're starting now, however, make sure you use this one as the high. And we got in here at minus 75% with a small cap strategy. So now we have a nice average price there. Really happy the sales are on. And we had the same with KSM here, which is at Kusama. Mm-hmm. And that is down 84%. So we entered at the 34, 44, 54, 60, 70, and 84% drop on that one as well. And the Sandbox, we entered another time there at the 84% drop as well, which is great. So this is, of course, if you really follow the strategies, you should have money to invest all the way down, but that's easier said than done, of course. But do make sure you learn from it, and do make sure you follow the strategies. Same is true with HNT, which is helium, down a massive 85%, and a great time to be investing. And so if you haven't, please do your research on these. Same with XRP, down from the high, now down minus 70%. And the same here, we invested as it went down the last time on the way here. And then we took profits on the way up, right? So 100% up, and then went down again. So rinse and repeat, important to take profits as well. And now to the big one. This is Luna. So what have really happened here? You probably heard it, maybe on other YouTube channels, but in essence, maybe just to try to put it simply, they had a stable coin, which is UST, not USDT, it's UST. And the stable coin is supposed to be pegged to something. That's what makes it stable. And this was pegged to the dollar. So every one of their tokens should have been $1. But what happened was that they lost the peg. So they were $1 here, as you can see, this is the weekly chart, but it was $1 all the way here. And then someone really sold a lot of it. And this was backed by Bitcoin. So there's speculations that Citadel, BlackRock, and these big institutions are behind this, but no one really knows. But I think people will find out. But they lost a peg. So really what they're saying, this is a failed, it's a lot of trial and error really early in the market. And this was a bit of trial and error. And when they sold, it just continued down from that. And now it's worth 9 cents. So they sold all the Bitcoin in order to buy USD back, in order to get it up. They tried here, as you could see, and got it up to 94 cents. But then the selling continued. People are abandoning the project, and then it just goes down from there. And then every time a UST is sold, then a Luna is created. So what happened with Terra Luna is that now there's billions and almost trillions of coins that's been created, which has really partly diluted the price, but also because of the selling that occurred. People that were millionaires has now gone down over 99.9% in value. So it's almost at zero. So we had 100% loss on this, just for the sake of it as well. But that being said, make sure you remember that if you look back to 2020 when we invested in this, then we were actually up over 300 or 400%. So in essence, we have taken profits all the way up. So you should never have, lesson number one, make sure you diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Number two, make sure you take profits on the way up. So when it goes down, you maybe only reinvest the profits in that sense. So this should just be one loss out of many that we're making profits on. So that's really the story behind Luna. And the last one we're averaging into is Ethereum. And Ethereum is also down a massive 60%, a great buying opportunity, but the same there. Yeah, shorter term, it's broken the structure, but it's still longer term, it's still creating higher highs and higher lows, which is really nice to see. So longer term, we're still very bullish on cryptos. And the question, of course, is, have we found the bottom? Will we go lower? Well, as we discussed earlier here, if we break below the 30,000 mark, then yes, we will probably head lower in the shorter term. But it's just noise in the shorter term. We are firm believers that Bitcoin will really go up in the longer term. So make sure you have a strategy. It could also be wise closing your computer for a while, maybe checking in a couple of months if you feel very emotional attached to this. So put your orders in advance and leave it. Don't act irrational. Money will move from the inpatient to the patient every single time. So comment below, what are you doing currently? What have you done with Luna? Are you buying it? We say this, if the fundamental of something had changed, if it's a company, the CEO leaves, we reassess the situation. On Luna, we thought it was a great company. We really believe that. But now the fundamentals have changed, so we are not investing now. We are assessing the situation to see if they can solve it, and then we might get back into it again. Currently, we have 100% loss on this. So I hope that makes sense to you, but you need to make that judgment call. Don't buy on emotions. Don't do what most people do. They look at this and say, oh, you know what, Dennis, if this goes back up, I'm going to be a billionaire. Oh, that's great. But that's a big if. It's gambling. We don't do gambling here. So wait, I would wait, and we would wait until the fundamentals gets better, and then we will make a judgment based on that, if they can solve the situation. So they do have a plan. They're burning tokens at the moment. We'll see if that is enough. And then we're going to take it from there. So is there anything you want to add with cryptos, or before we move on here?
No, so in regards to cryptos, as Dennis said, we're in the same phase as we are with stocks. We can't confirm if we are bottomed out or if the market is going to still continue to fall, but we have the strategies that are in place. Now, don't forget, there is a lot of positive news still coming around cryptocurrency. Yes, it has been diluted because of what happened with Terra Luna, but diversification is key. As Dennis said, never have your eggs in one basket, because what happens if that basket has a hole? You lose all your eggs. So this is why we need to be diversified. We might lose 100% on Luna, but in the longer term, we might make 400, 500, 600% on other coins. So it's all about the overall portfolio growth and not just the growth of one coin. Okay, so just make sure you follow the strategy, and then you will reap the rewards when the market does recover and continues to push higher. That's all I really have to add there, Dennis.
Yeah, awesome. So the last thing to add, like there's so many positive news here, and it's just starting, right? This is starting to be created, and there's more users every single day. And for example, Emirates Airlines is starting to accept payments with Bitcoin, and that's just one of many stories. So it's all happening. You're at the right place. Make sure you stay tuned, right? Make sure you follow us. You get this update every week. We are going to be here in 2 years. We're going to be here in 10 years. I mean, you never know the future, but that's our intention, right? To really be here and supporting you. So going over to some stocks, we've actually now on the downturn added to a couple more positions. Salesforce, we added another entry at minus 49%. On PayC, we have now added another entry. The first one was 40%. The next one now is at minus 50%. On Microsoft, which is now down, we went in at 15%, just such a big company. So we made a judgment. We entered a little bit earlier here because usually it doesn't fall that much. And now next entry at minus 25%. We also have Chipotle Mexican Grill, great food. And Keith, you need to eat more, it seems, because it's minus 34%. And we had another entry. They say with Nike, who's jumping into the metaverse, creating shoes all over the place here in the shape of NFTs. And that is currently down 40%. So we're adding another entry to that as well. The same goes for Estée Lauder companies, great fundamentals as well, which is down 39% from the high as well. And last but by no means least, we have Moody's Corporation, which is down 30% from the highs. We're adding another entry there as well, just according to the strategies. So the answer actually is yes, we want them to fall more. So the question to you is, comment below, please. Do you want them to fall more? Do you want them to go up now? And what is the lesson you've learned in this correction? Do you realize the importance of A, following the strategies, B, having enough money so you can invest all the way down? That's where you make the big money. They say in the bear market, that's where you make the really big money. And it's so true, because this is where you're able to get the average price down so low. So when it then changes, you make a lot of money. So the one we're going to add this week is Apple. Apple is down to minus 20%. And it's fairly rare. During COVID, Apple went down to minus 36%, so it doesn't really go down that much. And changing this back to a daily, the other ones we watched at a weekly chart, we see that even during these worst pullbacks, it does go down 40%. So I think even if it gets a lot worse, I think Apple is a strong company, and I think this might not go down a lot more than 20% or 30, maybe 40. And watch for this as well. These big companies, they usually lead the way when the market structure changes. So when we see the market changes to a more bullish phase, then Apple and the other companies that are that big will lead the way. That's where naturally money is going to flow in first. So that's the new one. And I mean, Apple is a great company, as we know. They have really great, they showed really good reports. Actually, they have a market capitalization of 3 trillion. I don't know if you can comprehend that even. It's really, really big. The revenue rose 17% year over year to 19 billion in revenue. And they're expanding the services all the time. And this is one thing we say with VCAs, never invest into something global with many different product lines. A, it's global. B, they have a lot of different services such as App Store, Apple Care, iCloud, Apple Pay, Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade. And then, of course, they have all the iPhones, iPads, TV, you name it, right? Which is really, really cool. And watches and AirPods, etc., etc. So Apple is a great one, and we always use this opportunity to average into Apple as well. And the one thing I want to leave you with here, and we want to leave you with, is this. Look at the Fear and Greed Index. This is similar for both stocks and cryptos, but this one is related to cryptos, and it's at 8 at the moment. The market is super fearful, and we can imagine you are too. But just trust us when we say we've been here before. Marcus has been here before. He's been in the markets for 20 years. It's not our first rodeo. We know that everything that goes down will also go up. And you can see down to these levels is very, very rare. And usually the result of this is that it goes up. So with this, it could well have bottom, at least for the shorter term. So which is very positive, I think. So anything you want to add there when it comes to cryptos or VCAs, Keith? Any maybe words of wisdom?
The words of wisdom. I've got one word of wisdom here. Well, it's not a word, it's a sentence of wisdom. But if you ever feel like your emotions are taking hold of you when it comes to investing and trading, there's one thing that you must always do.
It's mooing. Very important.
Mooing. It is mooing. It's doing Tarzan. No, it is following the strategy. You must follow the strategy. By following the strategy, you don't allow time for your emotions to come into play. Okay, so as long as you follow the strategy to a T, and it's not just any strategy, it's got to be a proven strategy. So a strategy that's worked over the last couple of bear markets, like the VCA, as long as you follow that to a T and invest as that market comes down, when you see the recovery, you're going to start seeing your portfolio really growing. And then you're going to thank us. You're going to give us big hugs. You're going to send us chocolates, flour, because you've made the money as the market has run up. So just follow the strategy. That's all I've got to say there, Dennis.
Yeah, great one. Except for the part which sending us chocolate. Don't do that. Send us fruit, carrots. We are very healthy here.
Well, that's fruit for you. That's fruit for you. Chocolate for me.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. 70% cacao though, so okay, fine. So then let's go over to the market results, right? So the results we have, we closed 2% on Buffalo. Woo! Right, great. That's good. We're finally turning that around. We had some tough months with the Buffalo, but that's all it is, right? We know it's just a matter of time, and then one month we get 10%, some months we get minus 3%. It just that's how it's playing out. With the CCA, we got a minus 100% there on Luna. So that's a boo. But that happens. But still, we're still up 1,410% on the money invested. So we will have losses. If anyone tells you they don't have losses, they're either very good or they're not telling the truth. So losses is part of the game, but we win more than we lose. That's why we make money. And that's why we want to teach people to do the same, to get that, really get that financial independence. So with that being said, really hope you enjoyed Trades of the Week this week. But don't forget, 1 p.m. tomorrow, the 18th of May, we have a live career webinar where we are looking for sales professionals, enthusiastic sales professionals even. So if that's you, make sure you press the link below to sign up. And also, if you enjoy the content of these videos, make sure you also register, not register, but subscribe to the channel, press the like button and comment below as well, and see if you have any questions, if there's any specific you would like to see, we're here to accommodate that for you. So once again, thank you so much for being here. We go and also press that alarm bell, right? So you get those notifications, because next week we're gonna get back with an update, and the week after a new update. So you can always feel secure that you are taken care of and that we're supporting you with what's happening in the market. So from myself, the whole team, and Keith, we wish you all the best and have a great trading week. And we see you in the next Trades of the Week.